Have you ever felt that something about you was always a little different, like there was a quiet thread pulling you through life, a sense that your path was never quite like anyone else's? Maybe you've never been able to explain it. Maybe it's a soft intuition that the way you feel the people you attract, the challenges you face, they aren't just coincidences. They're part of something much older, something written before you even arrived here. Now, what if I told you that the last digit of your birth year holds a clue to all of this, not in a mystical or superstitious way, but in the way that Buddhist wisdom has long taught us, that life is not random, that our choices, our patterns, even our pains arise from energies we've carried across lifetimes. You see, in Buddhism, numbers are not just symbols for counting time. They're vibrations, frequencies, echoes of karma. And the last digit of your birth year, it's not just a number, it's a spiritual marker, a small hidden code left by your soul, reminding you of who you are, what you came here to learn, and why some parts of your life seem to repeat, while others flow with a kind of ease you can't quite explain. Today, we're going to decode that together. I'll walk you through each number from 0 to 9, not just what it means, but how it feels, what it teaches, and what it reveals about the deeper journey your soul is here to walk. This won't be a light conversation. It's not just numerology. This is a meditation, a remembering, and maybe a moment that puts years of confusion into clear light. So take a breath, place your hand over your heart, and think of the last digit in the year you were born. That number is not a label. It's a doorway. Let's walk through it and see what your soul has been trying to tell you since the day you took your first breath. Part 1, number 0, the journey of rebirth and eternal beginnings. If the last digit of your birth year is 0, you were not meant to live an ordinary life. You carry within you the symbol of the whole of endings and also of beginnings. To most people, 0 seems like emptiness, like nothingness. But under the light of Buddhist wisdom, 0 is the ultimate essence, the place where nothing is held and everything becomes possible. 0 is impermanence. 0 is emptiness. 0 is the ground of all transformation. If you carry this number, you've likely been reborn many times within this very life. Not literally, but through moments when parts of you had to die so something new could be born. Maybe you left behind a career. You once loved a city that felt like home, or a relationship you thought would last forever. To others, your life might seem unstable, ever shifting. But inside, you've always known your soul refuses to stay in what no longer serves its growth. Each chapter in your life is a cycle of birth and death. You build, you tear down. You begin, you end. And then you begin again. This isn't confusion. It's the sacred rhythm of a soul committed to evolution. But alongside that flexibility comes a very real challenge, the feeling of never being settled. Have you ever asked yourself, why do I always feel like I'm starting over? You might look around and see others following stable linear paths, while you are still shaping, still wandering, still shifting. But let me tell you, that's not weakness. That's courage. Courage to not pretend. Courage to say, I am no longer who I used to be, and I accept that. 0 teaches the lesson of trust, not in something fixed or final, but in the ever-changing nature of life itself. You carry a rare gift to find peace in the middle of chaos, to see a way forward when all looks lost, to rebuild from ashes, to turn endings into beginnings. Most people have no idea how many times you've had to quietly rebuild yourself. But the fact that you're still here, still open, still learning, still listening, is proof that you've overcome more than most will ever see. The most beautiful thing about zero is it does not force. It does not limit. It invites. You are not here to follow old paths. You are here to create new ones. You carry within you infinite potential and the courage to dream the impossible. But to live this truth, you must learn to trust in endings, and more importantly, trust in new beginnings. There will be moments when you feel lost, when others seem settled while you are still shifting. But don't forget, you were not born to repeat. You were born to reinvent, to open doors, for yourself and for others who are still afraid to change. If zero is your soul's marker, remember you are not empty. You are vast, you are space, you are freedom, you are possibility. Your soul did not choose the easy path, but it chose the one where you can touch what others fear to dream. And that is the quiet miracle hidden within this humble, circular number. Number 1, the energy of creation, courage, and the lonely path of the leader. If the last digit of your birth year is 81, then you came into this life carrying the spark of initiation, the sacred beginning. The one who steps forward, often before anyone else even realizes there's a path to walk. In Buddhist thought, nothing arises without causes and conditions, and those who carry the energy of one were not born to follow, but to act, to break inertia, to plant seeds that no one else dares to plant. You may have noticed, even from childhood, that decisions often rested on your shoulders, that no one was going to rescue you, and so somehow you rescued yourself. That's not just personality. That's karma ripening, the fruit of past lifetimes where action and leadership were central themes. Those marked by the number 1 are often restless souls. You feel the urge to move forward, to create, to push boundaries, even when the world tells you to stay where it's safe. You see possibilities others can't see. You carry visions too big to explain. You're the type to wake up one day, change everything, and say, I just knew it was time. But with this strength comes a quiet ache, the ache of being misunderstood. You may have been called bossy, too independent, too intense. But underneath all that is a soul that cannot sit still while life passes by. A soul that burns with the need to make something matter. And that urgency, it's not ambition, it's sacred fire. Yet like all fire, it can consume as much as it creates. If you carry the number 1, your challenge is this: do not turn your strength into a shield. You don't have to carry it all alone. You don't have to prove your worth by pushing harder than everyone else. True leadership, as the Buddha taught, is not about control. It is about compassion in action. Yes, you were born to lead, but not to dominate. To guide, not to isolate. You may struggle to ask for help. You may equate vulnerability with weakness. But the deeper truth is this: even the strongest pathfinder needs a place to rest. The blessing of your energy is that you don't wait for permission. While others hesitate, you begin. While others plan, you leap. You learn by doing. You grow by trying. And even when you fall, you rise again and again. That resilience is powerful. It's a rare kind of strength. But don't let it harden you. Your soul didn't come to win every battle. It came to walk with purpose, and sometimes walking gently is the bravest act of all. One of the dangers for number 1 is isolation. The world may look at you and see success drive boldness, but you know how lonely it can feel to carry a vision no one else sees. Don't let that loneliness build walls. Let it deepen your empathy. Because when you open your heart, when you invite others into your journey, something magical happens. Your strength becomes inspiring. Your fire becomes warming, not burning. If one is your soul's number, embrace your role. You are not here to mirror. You are here to shine. But remember, the brightest lights need rest. The fiercest warriors need silence. And the most visionary leaders still need soft places to land. So walk boldly. Start the things no one else dares to begin. But do it with love. Do it with kindness. And never forget you don't have to do it all alone. Because true leadership doesn't mean being the strongest. It means being true to your soul's call, even when the path is steep and no one else is walking beside you. Number 2, the energy of harmony, empathy, and the silent healer. If the last digit of your birth year is 2, you were born carrying the vibration of harmony, not just the desire for peace, but the capacity to create it in spaces where it has been forgotten. In the teachings of the Buddha, we are reminded that all things arise in interdependence. Nothing exists in isolation, and you, dear soul, are a living reminder of that truth. You feel deeply, more than you can explain, more than others often realize. From a young age, you may have noticed how tense energy in a room affected you. You might have flinched at conflict-sensed sadness before words were spoken, or felt overwhelmed by emotions that weren't even your own. That's not weakness. That's sensitivity refined over lifetimes. Those who carry the number 2 are often the emotional anchors of their families, their friendships, their communities. You're the one others lean on, the one who listens patiently, the one who quietly absorbs pain so others can feel lighter. And yet, how many times have you stayed silent just to keep the peace? How many times have you said yes when every part of you wanted to say no? There's a hidden suffering in always being the strong one, the calm one, the one who never lets anyone down. But here's the truth, you matter too. Your needs are sacred even when no one else sees them. In Buddhism, karuna compassion must include oneself. Otherwise, it becomes imbalance, a distortion. You came into this world to bring harmony, but not by erasing yourself. Your empathy is powerful, a rare gift. But if left unchecked, it can turn into self-abandonment. You start to feel invisible, like everyone else's emotions take priority, and yours don't belong anywhere. That's the wound of number 2, and that's also the path to its awakening. When you begin to see yourself with the same tenderness you offer others, everything changes. You begin to set boundaries, gently but firmly. You begin to say, I love you, but I also love me. You begin to realize that harmony is not about keeping things quiet. It's about making space for truth, including your own. And that's when your energy becomes truly healing. Not because you sacrifice yourself, but because you stand whole, offering your presence without losing your center. People with the energy of 2 often carry ancient wisdom. You intuitively see both sides of a conflict. You understand nuance read between the lines and hold space for paradox. It's why others trust you. It's why strangers open up to you. It's why people say, I don't know why I'm telling you this, as they pour out their hearts. You are a natural bridge between people, between hearts, between what hurts and what heals. But you're not here to fix everyone. You're not here to carry the emotional weight of the world. You are here to inspire balance by living it, to show that it's possible to be deeply kind without being a doormat, to be compassionate without being consumed. Your soul craves meaningful connection. You thrive in togetherness, but only when it's rooted in mutual care, not one-sided giving. So be mindful of who you give your energy to. Not everyone is ready to receive you with the respect you deserve. If 2 is your number, embrace your gentle power. You are not weak. You are resilient in stillness. You are strong in softness. The world needs more of what you bring: people who can listen while others shout, who can unite where there is division, who can be kind without losing themselves. But remember, there is no true peace when you abandon yourself. Harmony must begin within. So speak to yourself the way you speak to those you love. Offer yourself the same warmth, the same forgiveness, the same space to breathe. Because when you are whole, your presence becomes medicine. And in that presence, the world remembers what it forgot. That peace is not a dream. It is a choice. And you are living proof that it can be real. Number 3, the energy of expression, creativity, and the joyful depth beneath the smile. If the last digit of your birth year is 3, you were born with a soul that dances with life. You carry the energy of expression through words, through laughter, through presence. You're the one who lights up a room, whose stories captivate, whose joy is infectious. But let's pause here, because what others see as joy often comes from a place far deeper. In Buddhist teachings, the mind is not just what we think. It's also what we feel, what we suppress, what we transform. And you, soul of the number 3, have been transforming emotions since you were young, through creativity, through humor, through movement, through your ability to lift others, even while you were quietly crumbling inside. You're the person who knows how to make people laugh right when they need it. But sometimes it's your own heart that's aching most. There's a tendency in you to hide behind lightness, to tell a joke instead of telling the truth, to keep things cheerful when inside you long to say, "I'm struggling too." You've likely heard, "You're always so happy. You're the life of the party. You're so easy to be around." But few see the emotional storms you've weathered. Few know how often you've cried behind closed doors, how often you've doubted your worth, how often you've started things, dreams, projects, relationships, only to abandon them when the pain became too real. This is the paradox of number 3. You feel everything, not just joy, but sorrow, beauty, loneliness, inspiration, and sometimes all at once. Your creativity is not just a talent. It's a survival tool. It's the way your soul navigates a world that often feels too loud, too heavy, too dull. And so you bring color, you bring magic, you bring life into places that have forgotten how to feel. But here's your challenge. Don't run from your own depth. The energy of 3 is constantly flowing like a river of ideas, emotions, impulses. And without direction, that river can flood. You start things, but don't finish. You jump from one thing to another, and you begin to wonder, do I lack discipline? Am I unreliable? No. You just haven't yet learned how to channel your energy. Because once you do, once you pour your creativity into something meaningful with consistency and soul, you become unstoppable. You were born to express, to turn feeling into form, to speak, write, paint, sing, move, connect. When you create, others feel seen. When you speak, others remember something true. The world needs your voice, your art, your light, but not just the happy parts, all of it. The pain too, the questions, the longings. Because when you stop pretending to be okay, when you let your truth be felt, your expression becomes healing. In Buddhism, one of the most powerful practices is honest presence. Not fixing, not faking, just being fully there with what is. If you carry the number 3, this is your practice, be present with yourself, even in the silence, even when the laughter fades, even when joy feels far away. Your joy is real, but so is your sorrow. You are the sun and the storm, the celebration and the ache, and all of it is sacred. So if number 3 marks your soul, embrace your gift to express. But let it be true. Let it be whole. You don't have to be the entertainer. You don't have to be on all the time. You just have to be you. And when you let your whole heart speak, your words become poetry. Your art becomes medicine, and your presence becomes a doorway to something much bigger than yourself. Because your life isn't meant to be perfect. It's meant to be felt fully, deeply, beautifully. Number 4, the energy of structure, responsibility, and the silent strength that holds it all together. If the last digit of your birth year is 4, then your soul came into this world with a quiet mission to build, to stabilize, to carry the weight that others cannot. You are the foundation. Others lean on the calm in the storm, the planner when chaos hits, the one who says, "Don't worry, I've got it." But here's the part they often miss: who carries you. In the teachings of the Buddha form, and emptiness are not opposites. They are interwoven. To build something meaningful, we must also know how to let go. To create order, we must allow space for flow. But for those with the energy of 4, letting go is not easy. You thrive in structure, in schedules, in plans. You find peace in knowing what's next, in organizing life. So it makes sense not just for yourself, but for everyone around you. You are a builder of systems, of homes, of families, of businesses, and the world needs you more than it knows. But here's the truth that no one talks about: holding everything together can get exhausting. From a young age, you might have felt the pressure to be the responsible one, the mature one, the dependable one. Maybe you were the child who grew up too fast, the sibling who took care of others, the partner who always had it together. And because of that, you forgot how to rest. You forgot how to fall apart, not because you didn't want to, but because you didn't think you were allowed to. Number 4 is often misunderstood as rigid, but that's not the full story. You're not rigid. You're deeply loyal. You're committed. You keep your word, even when it hurts. But there's a hidden cost to always being the strong one. You begin to equate stability with self-denial. You stay in relationships long after they've expired. You hold on to jobs, roles, identities, not because they still serve you, but because they make sense. And yet, your soul whispers, "Let go." There's something else waiting. Your spiritual challenge in this life is to learn the difference between discipline and rigidity, between devotion and duty, between holding on and holding space. Because true strength, as the Dharma teaches, is not just an endurance, it's an adaptability. It's in knowing when to bend, when to soften, when to trust that the ground won't disappear just because the plan does. You feel deeply, but you don't always show it. You're often the last one to cry, but the first one to notice when someone else is hurting. You want to be seen as reliable, composed, balanced. And most days you are. But even the strongest structures need maintenance. Even the most stable foundations need to be cared for. You deserve to be held, to be nurtured, to fall apart without guilt, because building the world is noble, but so is building a home within yourself. People with the number 4 are natural protectors. You guard what you love. You create safety. You make things work. And that's a rare, sacred gift. But please remember, you don't always have to be the one who holds it all. Let someone hold you too. Let yourself rest. Let yourself feel. Let yourself dream beyond the plan. Because your soul came not just to build for others. It came to grow, to feel joy, to know peace. And peace doesn't always come in spreadsheets or to-do lists. Sometimes it comes in silence, in surrender, in letting life surprise you. If number 4 marks your path, embrace your role as the builder. But remember, you are not the walls. You are not the weight. You are the space within the structure, the breath beneath the routine, the heart behind the order. And when you begin to live from that place, you no longer just hold the world together. You begin to hold yourself. And in doing so, you become the kind of strong that doesn't break under pressure because it knows how to bend, how to rest, and how to rise again. Number 5, the energy of freedom, change in the soul that refuses to be caged. If the last digit of your birth year is 5, then you didn't come here to stay still. Your soul carries the vibration of movement, of transformation, of uncontainable freedom. You are the wind shifting, dancing, flowing wherever life calls you next. You are the question that refuses easy answers, the road that curves when others go straight, the fire that doesn't stay in one place for too long. In the teachings of the Buddha, clinging is the root of suffering. And if number 5 marks your path, you already know this, intuitively, instinctively. You were born with a restlessness that others don't always understand. You crave novelty. You seek experience. And you don't just live life, you taste it. Test it, turn it inside out to discover what's real. From a young age, you may have struggled with structure. School might have felt suffocating, routines limiting, rules unnatural. Not because you're irresponsible, but because your soul came here to explore the edges. You are the adventurer, the spiritual nomad, the one who can find meaning in a crowded city or a silent forest. You ask the deeper questions, you resist the easy path. You change fast, often, and without apology. But here's the thing, change can be a gift or a trap. When ungrounded, your energy can become chaotic. You start things, but rarely finish. You jump from one person, place, or project to another, always chasing the next high and wondering why nothing feels truly satisfying. You see, freedom without direction is just another kind of prison. Your challenge in this life is to learn how to root yourself, not in routines that shrink your soul, but in values that expand it. You don't have to stay in one place, but you do need a center. You don't have to settle, but you do need something sacred to return to. Because when your freedom is paired with purpose, you become a force of awakening. You inspire others to break free from what no longer serves them. You teach by example that life is not meant to be endured, but discovered again and again. Number 5 is also deeply spiritual, not in a dogmatic way, but in the way that sees God in everything, in the way that questions, that doubts, that searches, until something clicks, not in the mind, but in the heart. You may find yourself drawn to many paths: Buddhism, Sufism, astrology, psychology. Not because you're confused, but because you're curious. Because your soul remembers that no single road holds the entire truth. You are here to collect fragments of wisdom, to walk through fire, through change, through loss, and come out with a deeper understanding of what it means to be alive. But be careful, because your empathy is wide. You can fall for ideas, people, dreams, only to lose yourself in the whirlwind of it all. So here's your grounding practice. Choose what aligns with your soul, not what's loudest, not what's newest, but what feels true. Make commitments not to cages, but to callings. You'll find that some forms of structure don't limit your freedom, they amplify it. Like a sail that helps the wind move faster, like a rhythm that helps the dance come alive. If number 5 marks your journey, embrace the gift of change. But don't forget to come home to yourself, to your breath, to that quiet voice inside that knows the difference between escaping and evolving. You were not born to be tamed, but you were born to be aware. Because when you walk with intention, when your heart leads instead of your impulses, your life becomes a living adventure, a story not of distraction, but of discovery. So go ahead, follow the pull of what's calling you. Chase wonder, choose growth, say yes to the unexpected, but do it from a place of presence. Do it from your center, and know that freedom isn't found in having no direction. It's found in knowing where your soul truly longs to go. Number 6, the energy of compassion, care, and the sacred art of loving without losing yourself. If the last digit of your birth year is 6, then your soul carries one of the most radiant and tender energies, love and service. You didn't come into this world to chase power or status. You came to hold, to heal, to soften the harshness of the world through your presence alone. You are the nurturer, the caregiver, the one who sees pain before it's spoken, the one who stays even when no one asks you to. In the teachings of the Buddha, compassion, karuna, is not just a feeling. It is a way of being, a recognition that the suffering of others is not separate from our own. If 6 is your number, you live this truth effortlessly. You feel responsible not just for your life, but for the lives of those around you. You give, you comfort, you take on burdens that aren't yours, because that's what your heart naturally does. But here's the challenge: you forget yourself. From a young age, you may have played the role of peacemaker, protector, provider. You may have raised siblings, mended broken hearts, held your family together when everything was falling apart. And somewhere along the way, you learned that your worth was tied to what you give, that being kind meant staying silent, that love meant self-sacrifice, that being good meant putting others first, even if it meant abandoning yourself. But this is the wound that 6 must heal to love without losing yourself. You see, your love is powerful, but love becomes heavy when it's not reciprocal, when it turns into rescue, when you start believing that your job is to fix, to save, to absorb the brokenness of everyone around you. And while your care is a gift, you must remember it is not your responsibility to heal everyone. The Buddha taught the middle way, not too tight, not too loose. The same applies to your compassion. Give, but don't pour from an empty cup. Support, but don't carry what's not yours. You deserve rest. You deserve joy. You deserve space to be more than who others need you to be, because the most beautiful version of your love is the one that flows from fullness, not depletion. When you care for yourself genuinely consistently, your energy becomes expansive. Your presence becomes naturally healing without effort or exhaustion. And that's when your real power shines. Not in fixing everything, but in simply being calm, whole-rooted in love. People with the number 6 often carry deep emotional wisdom. You understand family dynamics, feel at home in nurturing roles, and are often drawn to healing professions, spiritual guidance, or community service. But even here the lesson remains. Do not confuse love with duty. Do not confuse care with control. Do not stay where your soul is shrinking just to be useful. You are already enough even when you do nothing at all. If 6 is your path, your soul is here to remind the world that love is sacred. That kindness is strength. That holding space for others is holy work, but only when it begins with you. So learn to say no without guilt. Learn to rest without shame. Learn to trust that those you love can still grow, even without you holding everything together. Because your value doesn't come from being needed. It comes from being true. If number 6 lives in you, remember you are not here to disappear into service. You are here to radiate love that nourishes others, because it also nourishes you. You are the hearth, but you are also the flame. And when you burn from within gently, wisely, with compassion that includes yourself, the warmth you offer can light the world. Number 7, the energy of wisdom. Introspection and the sacred search for deeper meaning. If the last digit of your birth year is 7, then your soul was not born for surface living. You came here with a hunger not for possessions or praise, but for truth, not just facts, not beliefs, but something deeper, a knowing that lives in the bones and the quiet, in the spaces between thoughts. In Buddhist teachings, we are taught to look past illusion, to see through the veils of identity, form, and story. The number 7 carries the same vibration. You are the seeker, the contemplative, the one who doesn't settle for easy answers. From a young age, you may have felt different. You looked at life and thought, surely there must be more than this. While others chased success, you asked about purpose. While others talked, you observed. While others ran from silence, you sat in it. Not because you chose it, but because it felt like home. You are naturally introspective. You think deeply. You feel profoundly. You may find yourself drawn to philosophy, spirituality, psychology, mysticism, not for status, but because your soul longs to remember something ancient, something that's been calling you for lifetimes. And yet this path can be lonely. You often walk between worlds, not fully in society, not fully outside it. You may find small talk exhausting. You may feel misunderstood, even by people who love you. You crave meaningful connection, but you struggle to find people who speak the same language of the soul. This is your blessing and your challenge. The inner life is rich, but it can become a refuge you never leave. And when introspection turns into isolation, you begin to feel untethered, disconnected from the world you were meant to illuminate. Because yes, you are here to go deep, but not to disappear. You are here to bring back what you find in the silence and offer it as a lantern for others. People with the number 7 often carry intuitive wisdom. You sense things others miss. You read energy. You notice the unspoken. You are the one people come to when they're lost, not because you fix them, but because your presence makes them feel like maybe they're not alone in the vastness of it all. But don't forget, you need that same comfort, that same tenderness, that same space to not have it all figured out. The spiritual journey is not a ladder. It's a spiral. There will be seasons where you feel clear and others where everything dissolves. Let that be okay. You don't need to always be wise. You don't need to always be strong. You don't need to have all the answers, because the truth you seek isn't in the answers anyway. It's in the living questions, the ones you carry, the ones that shape who you are. If 7 is your number, honor your depth, protect your solitude, but also let yourself be seen. Let people in. Let the light you've found in silence spill gently into your relationships, your work, your everyday life. Because wisdom isn't meant to stay hidden in caves. It's meant to be lived, shared, embodied. You are not just a thinker. You are a teacher, not through lectures, but through presence, through truthfulness, through being exactly who you are in a world addicted to distraction. So keep asking, keep listening, keep seeking the sacred beneath the noise. But don't forget, you are already part of what you're looking for. And when you realize that your search doesn't end, it simply becomes quieter, softer, more reverent. A devotion instead of a chase. A remembering instead of a reaching. Because sometimes the greatest wisdom is not in what you learn, but in who you become when you stop needing to know. Number 8, the energy of power, manifestation, and the journey to lead without losing your soul. If the last digit of your birth year is 8, then your soul carries the vibration of realization, the ability to take what is invisible and bring it into form, the gift of turning ideas into action dreams, into structure intention, into tangible impact. In Buddhist philosophy, power without mindfulness leads to suffering, but power paired with wisdom becomes compassion in motion. And you are here to learn that sacred balance. Those with the number 8 often feel an inner pressure from a young age to perform, to achieve, to be the strong one, to carry others, to make something of your life. It's as if your soul arrived with a mission, not just to live, but to build, to lead, to leave a legacy. You're likely the one who takes charge when no one else will. You handle crises with calm. You make decisions with clarity. You get things done while others are still hesitating. People respect your strength, but they rarely see the weight that comes with it. Because when you're constantly relied upon, when success becomes your identity, when results define your worth, you begin to lose touch with the quiet voice of your soul. And that's where the real lesson of 8 begins to lead, without forgetting who you are, to build without hardening, to achieve without becoming hollow inside. You see, number 8 is not just about external power. It is about spiritual responsibility. Your energy attracts opportunity, wealth, influence, but it also attracts challenge to test what you'll do with what you're given. Because not all achievement is created equal. There's success that feeds the ego, and there's success that frees the spirit. You might have already felt this. You reach a goal, but the joy is fleeting. You receive praise, but feel strangely empty. That's the soul calling you back, reminding you that your power is sacred, not a mask, not a shield, but a tool for awakening. People with this number often go through intense cycles, financial highs and lows, sudden transformations, leadership roles that feel both thrilling and isolating. You may have experienced early responsibility, times when you had no choice but to be strong, moments where you rose quickly, only to fall just as fast. But each of those moments was preparing you for inner authority. the kind that doesn't depend on titles, the kind that leads from presence, not pressure, from alignment, not ambition. If 8 is your number, you are here to reclaim your relationship with power, not by denying it, but by purifying it, by choosing to lead from the heart, to succeed without domination, to manifest with integrity, to realize that true prosperity is not just money or status, it's peace. Because what good is a full bank account and an empty soul? What's the point of reaching the top if you forget who you were on the way there? The world needs strong, wise, compassionate leaders, and you were born to be one, but not through force, not through burnout, not through sacrificing everything for the sake of making it. You are allowed to rest, to pause, to ask yourself, is this aligned with who I really am? Because when your outer life reflects your inner truth, you become unstoppable, not in the aggressive sense, but in the graceful way. Rivers move mountains. So if number 8 lives in you, embrace your power, but do it differently. Build yes, but build what matters. Lead yes, but lead from love. Achieve yes, but not at the cost of your soul. Let success be sacred. Let leadership be healing. Let your life be both a structure and a sanctuary. Number 9, the energy of completion, compassion, and the soul's lasting legacy. If the last digit of your birth year is 9, then your soul carries the vibration of completion, not as an ending, but as a sacred full circle return. You are the old soul, the silent witness, the one who has walked many lifetimes gathering wisdom, not from books, but from heartbreak, loss, healing, and the kind of love that doesn't need to be loud to be real. In Buddhist thought, everything arises and passes away, and yet nothing is truly lost, only transformed. If you carry the number 9, you are the embodiment of this truth. You are here to transform pain into peace, grief into grace, suffering into service. You were not born to chase, but to offer, not to seek attention, but to awaken hearts simply by being who you are. From a young age, you may have sensed the sadness of the world. You may have felt emotions too big for your body, carried wounds that didn't quite belong to you, and held space for others long before you knew how to hold space for yourself. You may have felt like the outsider, not because you didn't belong, but because your soul was tuned to a frequency few others could hear. You feel deeply, and sometimes you feel everything, not just your own emotions, but the silent suffering of those around you, strangers, animals, the earth itself. That kind of empathy is a gift, but it can also be a burden, because when you don't know how to channel it, you begin to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders, and you forget you're allowed to put it down. The journey of number 9 is to love without losing yourself, to serve without becoming a martyr, to give without erasing your own needs. You may be drawn to causes, to people, to pain, because your heart cannot look away. You want to help, to mend, to heal. But remember, you are not here to fix the world. You are here to feel it, and from that place of wholeness, to inspire others to heal themselves. People with this number often experience profound endings, deaths, breakups, losses, closures that feel like soul-level ruptures. And that's because your soul chose to complete a cycle in this life. You are closing karmic loops, clearing ancestral pain, offering forgiveness where others held grudges for generations. And sometimes that work happens invisibly. No one sees the weight you carry. No one knows the silent prayers you whisper. The times you forgave in silence, the times you gave love and asked for nothing in return. But your soul knows, and the universe responds. You are a mirror and a bridge. You reflect back to others who they truly are and gently lead them to who they can become. Your presence heals not because you try to heal, but because your energy carries a quiet permission to be human, to grieve, to feel, to grow. If 9 is your number, your power is not in what you do. It's in what you embody. Compassion, dignity, wisdom, patience, forgiveness. You are here to end things well, to say the last loving word, to walk away with grace, to forgive what others thought unforgivable. You may not get credit, you may not be celebrated, but your legacy will live in the hearts of those whose lives you quietly touched, and that is sacred. So if number 9 marks your journey, walk slowly, walk humbly. But know this, your presence matters. You are not here to take center stage. You are here to close the circle with love. And in doing so, you begin something new, not just for yourself, but for everyone who walks behind you. The sacred invitation behind the numbers. Now that we've traveled through the meaning of each number, from 0 to 9, from silence to initiation, from the birth of possibility to the closing of cycles, perhaps something inside you feels seen. Maybe a memory surfaced, maybe a lifelong pattern suddenly made sense, or maybe for the first time in a long time, you whispered to yourself, "That's me." This journey wasn't really about numbers. It was about energy, about awareness, about the patterns we live without realizing, and the truth we carry without naming. In Buddhism, the external world is a mirror. Everything we encounter, people, events, symbols, even numbers, is simply a reflection of mind. And when we pause, when we look with clarity, we begin to see that nothing is random, that even the smallest detail, like the final digit of your birth year, can be a doorway to insight. But here's what matters most. This is not your label. This is not a box to fit yourself into. This is a reminder of what your soul came here to learn to embody, to remember. You are not just one thing. You are the full spectrum. You are the fire of the 1, the empathy of the 2, the creativity of the 3, the structure of the 4, the movement of the 5, the compassion of the 6, the depth of the 7, the power of the 8, and the wisdom of the 9. All held in the circle of 0, the space of becoming. So now the real question is not, what is my number? But what will I do with what I now know? Will you keep walking in old patterns, or will you step into the life that's been waiting for you? Will you continue to resist who you are, or will you finally accept the unique vibration you were born to carry? Because once awareness arises, it cannot be undone. Now that you've heard your soul speak through these words, you can't pretend not to know. You can't go back to sleep. And maybe that's why you're here, not for entertainment, not for curiosity, but because some quiet, persistent part of you has been asking for this, for a deeper understanding, for a map, for a mirror. And the number was just the beginning. So walk forward. Not with urgency, but with intention. Let your number be your teacher, but not your limit. Let it point you toward wholeness, not identity. And remember, no matter where you are in your journey, you are not behind. You are not broken. You are not too late. You are becoming exactly on time, exactly as you are. May you live the truth of your vibration. May you honor your path with softness and strength, and may this knowing, subtle, sacred soul deep guide you home to yourself, again and again.